We have just come out of the screening for Godzilla Minus One. Not sure about Jane's, but my ears are still recovering because we saw it in IMAX. It is directed by Takashi Yamasaki and it stars Unosuke Kamiki as the main character. It's pretty much based on the Japanese version of Godzilla. I mean, there's been a bunch load, I think over 30 of them, all but done by Toho Studio. All done by Toho Studios. This film is set in a post-war Japan where it's at their lowest point in a new crisis, which is Godzilla emerges right after the World War and starts causing havoc. And a pretty much a washed-up fighter pilot has to deal with the consequences of his actions during the war. That translates into Godzilla. So, James, what are your thoughts on Godzilla Minus One?
Man, I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. Might just be the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen. And there isn't much competition in terms of I definitely haven't seen nearly 30 of them, but I've seen a few of them. Obviously all the new stuff done by Hollywood, but and then a few of the Japanese ones through time. I don't know which ones because there's just too much of them. But yeah, I think this is by far and away the best one that I've seen. And I would say it's primarily due to our, connection to these characters. The characters are done really, really well. Like you may not be rooting for them, but like you're definitely invested in their storyline and how it all how they add characterization to those characters, how they provide resolutions and explore their lives and their experiences as Godzilla does what he does. Yeah, so I mean I absolutely loved it from that angle. I was completely on board with it, almost from the get-go with this one. So, I mean, there's not too much to cover. You said it with the ears. Watching it in IMAX, it's a pretty beautiful movie to watch, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is good. And in IMAX, yeah, it's extremely loud. I'm gonna be a little bit all over the place with this review. I'm just trying to think as I go, but I'll start with the technical side of things because that's the easiest part to discuss for this one, because it's abundantly clear that Hollywood makes movies wrong. What are we doing? What are they doing? The budget for this is 15 million.
15.
15. Yeah, I didn't misspeak. Thanks for clarifying. 15 million budget. That is mind blowing. I don't think I've ever seen a movie where it looks completely opposite to its budget. Even something like Avatar: The Way of the Water, it's a huge budget, but it looks really good. This looks really good, but it's got a tiny budget. It's tiny, man. I don't understand. It's crazy. This might have one of the best visual effects of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, no superhero movies come close in terms of visual effects. Like 15 million, man. And we have all these movies spending like $250 million. That's insane. I'm sorry, I'm going off about this, but go and see this movie. You would know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not just talking about how good Godzilla looks. He looks really good. And I was watching this movie and I'm like, okay, they probably put like at least probably around 150 million. I would have said 130 to 150 million for this kind of movie. Not 15 million. But it's not just the fact that it's got Godzilla and all that kind of stuff. But it's the fact that, everything's real in it. Like the sets are real, the ships and everything on the water, all that kind of stuff's just real. And I'm like, wow, how did they do this? This is amazing. So Hollywood needs to go here and learn some secrets. So imagine if they had $200 million for this movie.
Oh, it would look realistic.
It would beat Avatar in terms of best visual effects of all time.
100%.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So honestly, just go watch it for that alone. But there are other reasons to see it. Again, yeah, the visual effects are really good. The cinematography is fine. It's nothing special. There are some good stuff in this. Good stuff in this. There's some good shots and stuff. Otherwise, I think the production's really good. Using real sets, real props, all that kind of stuff just plays beautifully into their movie. And yeah, the score we talked about almost immediately coming out of the movie. The score is really, really good. It's powerful. It's moving. It feels larger than life when it needs to be. It's somber when it needs to be. Sometimes it goes a little bit into kind of a choir, and it's a little bit too much at that point. But for the most part, I think it's really, really good. As for the acting, the main guy, Mr. Kamiki, because I forgot the last name. I thought he played it too much. It was a little bit awkward some of the time with his acting, and I don't know if you agree with that.
Like when
You trying to say it without giving away spoilers?
Yeah. You know what Zen I'm talking about.
I think there's a few scenes, and he's just too much. It's like whoa, like calm down. And I don't know if that's what he was trying to do with the character, and if it was, I'm like, what are you doing with this character? It's too much. Need a little bit more of a subtlety to it, I think, to make it more powerful. Because his character goes through a lot of trials and tribulations throughout the entire film, and when that happens, it's very intense, and almost he's a very unpredictable character, which kind of made me a little bit uneasy. But besides that, I have no other really quarrels with the film. I think the story is just amazing. How it brings in, how it ties narrative threads together, how it uses characters. It's really good. And I've always wondered how they do a successful Godzilla. I think it's a very fascinating kind of formula to try and get, because we've had these Hollywoodized Godzilla movies and Godzilla vs Kong, and then there's always those people that have been like, no, focus on the characters more, because you can't characterize Godzilla because he's just a monster that runs around.
Mm-hmm.
And then other people will be like, no, we need to focus on Godzilla and doing what he does because it's a Godzilla movie. And I'm always wondering, like, I don't really know, because if it's going to be a franchise, you're not going to care about the characters in the next one because, they've done their story kind of thing. I think they nailed it here. And having it to the backdrop of post-war in Japan, super interesting. How the whole community in town is doing everything. I felt like just dread for what that, city was going through. I was like, oh man, like now you got this beast just coming in here. Yeah, there's no other quarrels in that. Godzilla doesn't need motivations. I don't need him to be some sort of like anti-hero and like he's trying to do something good. He can just pull up carnage and does whatever he does.
He's an animal.
He's
Predator.
an animal. He just does what he needs to do, and they capture him really, really well. Just the scale and the scope of him, and his little blast or whatever thing he does. Atomic breath, not heat wave.
No one has the atomic breath.
Atomic breath. That's powerful, and you don't just feel it by the vibrations in the seat. You feel it in the ears. My ears are bleeding. I will say that the sound design, I think it's a little bit off. It's just too much. It's too loud without focusing on depth, I think. And it just it started to sound like screeching, and I couldn't really, the sound mixing as well was a little bit off. I couldn't distinct the different sounds that were playing because it was just blasting right into my ear. Just blood dripping down my face at this point. It got a little bit too much. It's like, I would compare it with Dunkirk in terms of loudness, except Dunkirk, it's not just all the stuff at once. It's very distinct sounds that are very loud, a gunshot or something else. This was a little bit too much, but yeah, go see it in IMAX. It's a blast.
Literally.
Atomic blast.
Yeah. Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said. I think it's a fantastic Godzilla film, and it really captured or had a good balance of monster and humans in it. The Hollywood ones gets criticized how there's not too much Godzilla in it.
Mm-hmm.
And with its 2-hour runtime, I think it balances both aspects really well. And the character work is probably one of the best.
It's so good, yeah.
It's so good. You actually feel for the characters at some points, You can feel their struggles and their decisions and what they want to do.
Definitely, yeah.
And the consequences that if they do go on with it, what will happen to certain other characters. So you do feel that quite a lot in this, which is so much better than anything Hollywood can do recently.
Yeah.
Godzilla, I think he looked fantastic. It had his little classic look. He doesn't look so much like a dinosaur. He does look like a T-Rex. Me and James are memeing it, you know. His
He
little,
looks hilarious, all right.
his little arms and his big fat little belly.
He looks funny. He still looks terrifying. You know,
Yeah.
I would run away if I saw him. I would
Yeah, I
give him a
mean,
hug.
this guy is a unit, man. Like
Yeah.
he's pretty massive. I know that the recent one, the 2014 one, that Godzilla was touted as one of the biggest Godzillas on screen. I think this one could rival that. I think the Hollywood one is around about 100 to 150
Mm,
meters tall, and that was when it was a baby.
yeah.
This one definitely seems like as if it's gonna hit way more. It just seems fucking huge, like it's towering over buildings and then some. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way the atomic breath is portrayed
Hmm.
in the film is fantastic. Like it's literally a charge up,
That's so good.
and the
Yeah.
camera shows like from the tail all the way to its mouth off the charge up, and then when
Mhm.
it releases, what it does, what the spikes do. It's just great.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And
like,
just like the explosion and
Yeah.
going out and then coming back. Oh, so
Yeah,
good.
and
Yeah.
I think the sound for the atomic breath is great because you can hear the charge up, and then
Yeah.
it's silent when it blasts,
Yeah.
and then it's just silent, and then you just hear the explosion.
Yeah.
So it's similar to Oppenheimer, how you see it and then it happens.
Yeah.
It's somewhat like that, but faster.
Yeah. A lot faster. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it captured that aspect really, really great.
Hmm.
What else is it? The score. Yeah. I really
Yeah.
like the score. I'm pretty sure they had the OG or one of the famous Godzilla's themes in there as well.
Mm.
Would have played at the end. When the thing was in the water. That's the score.
Yes.
I'm talking
Yeah.
or referencing there. Yeah. So
Mhm.
it did have a little cool little callback there.
Hmm.
And I think the score managed to capture the intensity and the stakes really, really well. Like
Yeah.
that the final third act when everything's in motion and the score's playing and like starts with a tune and then it adds another instrument and then another instrument. Like
Hmm.
you can really feel it, and then it turns into a choir piece, and that just really takes you out of it a little bit. I'd rather just have it like keep building and building and building to
Mhm.
that moment.
Yeah.
But hey, Japan can't be that perfect, you know. But yeah, you said it, man. $15 million, 1.5, and it looks like this. It looks fantastic.
Well, I
Like,
told you you're 15 million and you're like 1.5. Yeah.
like the Hollywood should actually feel ashamed
It's
of the content that they put out,
yeah.
or the quality of content, and the fact that how overworked they make their workers
As
but-
well. Yeah.
to make the product as shit as what we get. Where these guys, the Japanese, are probably having fun while they're making this movie.
Yeah.
$15 million budget, and it looks like $1 million, you know?
Yeah, I really want to know how budgets work. Like, not just the production budget in a whole, but like, where's the money going?
Yeah.
Is it to visual effects? Is it to cast, director? Like, who's being overpaid at this point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, definitely go see it. Definitely go see it in IMAX if you can.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just find the biggest cinema you can find and watch it in that, because it's definitely a spectacle, and
It definitely is. Yeah.
I think not only Japanese films, but especially Japanese version of Godzilla should get more recognition, because the stories in it is just way better than the English ones that we get.
Yeah, they just put more care towards the characters.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, shout out to the director. He directed, wrote it, and he did the visual effects. This guy's the man.
Name any director that does their own visual effects.
I've never heard of that before. I've heard of editing. I've heard of cinematography.
Yeah.
Not visual effects.
visuals.
So that one's new.
Guy's a swift army knife when it comes to directing, eh?
We need more of that. Bring him to the MCU.
Hey, he might do a better job than most.
He will do a better job than most.
Yeah. In regards to this, would you be keen for a Godzilla Minus One sequel? Like, it's still set in this Godzilla universe, but rather than just redoing it again.
I don't know, because like I was saying before, the characters are, they're the heart and soul of this movie. It's not Godzilla. And if you're going to do another one, I think the characters' arcs were closed up nicely, especially in relation to Godzilla as well. So it would seem pointless to bring the characters back. If you were to do another one, it would have to be like the same Godzilla, but with new characters at the helm.
Yeah.
And so, is that really a sequel at that point? So
yeah.
I mean, like, I definitely would. I'd love for the directing and the creative creative talent and cast, not cast, sorry, all that, the talent and crew behind the camera to come back, of course. and do something because it was really good and I could see myself watching another one. What about you?
Yeah, I'll be interested. The way it ended seemed like it was setting up for another one, and then there was still that unanswered question as to the second final scene with the humans.
Right.
There could be some theories over that, so it would be nice to see it explored. But either way, whether they continue it or not, or could do something completely different, I'll probably still end up watching it either way.
What about if the Hollywood one and the Japanese one?
That would be fucking fantastic, as long as what's his face, this director, forgot his name because I put away my phone, directs it on a $15 million budget, because we would actually get a proper Godzilla film with great visual effects, Hollywoodized.
So if Hollywood allowed them to use their Godzilla, then we're down for it.
Not even their God. Oh yeah,
What
but
if,
both versions, the Hollywood and the Japanese
coming
version.
together with Kong? Yeah,
Oh,
monkey.
shit. Triple threat.
Kong would win though.
Oh yeah, that's the dumbest argument. Anyone that was on Team Kong, just fuck off.
I think Kyan tried to make the case for him. But yeah, I mean, he tried to, but yeah, you can't really with that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, next year we get Godzilla and Kong. Are you excited for that one?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do like these sort of monster films because
The Hollywood ones as well.
Yeah, because I do like Godzilla films. I think I've seen quite a few of them. And same with King Kong. Although I haven't seen the very first King Kong. I'll probably need to put that on my list.
The OG.
The OG one. Yeah, but I think there's just something about monster films where you just know exactly what you're going to get and you can just go in and have a blast. And apart from the 2000 Godzilla where it was actually trash, I think all the recent Godzillas have been that. Like, there's been...
2014 was average as.
But it was still fun.
No. Boring. I mean, it was shot well, I'll give you that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Captured scale really well. No, I mean, like, the Hollywood movies, my stance to them have always been like great entertainment, fun movies, popcorn flicks, just go into them, have fun, leave, carry on with your day kind of thing.
Yeah.
This movie showed me that Godzilla movies can be so much more than just what Hollywood gives us. And sure, Godzilla times Kong or X-Kong or whatever we're going to call it, it's you go in there for fun and that's it. And I don't know, my expectations might have changed now because I can see what you can do with that. You can engage the emotionality of the audience.
I guess it's all about passion, and the Japanese are very passionate about Godzilla. That's why there's 35 of them.
Well, I don't think things should be made unless you're passionate about it.
I mean, there's a lot of actors and directors that just do stuff for the paycheck.
I know, yeah. And we come on here on this podcast and on these reviews and we get angry at them. We don't like those people. Nayan, all right?
Yeah, Taika, we don't like you. Fucking sellout.
We love Taika. He's part of our NZ family. Kiwis, we got to stick together.
Nah, he's what is it? Excommunicado.
Yeah, he's a sellout to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, James, what is your score for Godzilla minus Kong?
Gosh. Awful joke.
Oh, did I say minus Kong?
Yeah.
Minus one.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I always see minus Kong as like a joke.
No, it wasn't a joke.
That's funny now because...
Because you said funny joke. I was like, the fuck? I just said a title. And I was like, oh, should I say Kong? Fuck.
Oh, no, that's funny. Budget of 15 million. I have to keep that in consideration. I'm going to give it a 9.6.
Holy fuck.
Minus one, so 8.6. That one was good.
You should have stuck to the 9.6. It would have been more better.
Nah, I'm going with an 8.6 for this one. Yeah, that budget blows me away. And what they've done and the entire thing, not just budget-wise, amazing stuff. 8.6, I think. It's one of my more higher marks for the year, for sure. I don't normally go up past 8.5 unless it's something special.
I'm going to give it an 8.2. No minus one.
Okay, so 8.2.
8.2.
Not plus one?
Plus one, 9.2. No, 8.2, yeah.
8.2.
It's a great film, and it does capture both the human side and the monster side of Godzilla really, really well. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can get to see more
Mhm.
projects from this director in studio.
One question. From all the Godzilla stuff you've seen, does any beat this one? Or is this the best one for you?
Best one from memory. To be fair, I only
Mhm.
watched the older ones when I was very, very little. So don't.
Even
Rem-
Godzilla vs. Kong?
I said older ones.
That's pretty old. They're all older, technically.
That will do us on this review. I'm sick of James and I want to leave now, clearly.
Aw.
Yeah, our next one will be Color Purple this Sunday. So check in on Sunday or your Saturday and we'll have a review there for you. If you want to listen to any of our other reviews, head over to Spotify and search Let's Be Real. And you can hear our reviews and not our reviews, our Let's Be Real podcast where we talk about everything and anything movies, TVs, and entertainment. And if you head over to moviegains.com, you can see all the other content we do, ranging from box office, Oscars, and physical media content as well. And if you see this film and if your ears bleed as much as ours, head over to Instagram or X and flick us a DM, and we can have a good conversation about Godzilla as well. Thanks for everyone for listening to this review. It was quite a long one. We'll catch you later.
Peace.